in the sky. Let's go. Locked in, lights up, game face on. It's the HogCast, baby, bring it on. Woo. It's the Cleveland HogCast Sports Show. Yeah. Blue collar blood, that's how we go. Let's go. Every city, every team, we won't smoke. Woo. If you ain't built like this, you might choke. It's the Cleveland HogCast Sports Show. Say what? Hard hits, hot takes, let it roll. Let it roll. From the first whistle to the last blow. Cleveland HogCast, welcome to the show. Hey!
Welcome back to the Cleveland HogCast Sports Show, your go-to source for all things Browns, Cavs, and Guardians/Indians, and beyond. I'm your host, Dr. Hogwash, coming to you from the heart of Berea. It's February 13th, 2026, and we're diving into the latest, greatest from the land from the last day or so in Cleveland sports. And with the Super Bowl in the rear view mirror, thank God. Congrats to the Seahawks. You know, we kind of figured they were going to clobber the Patriots, even though I kind of wanted the Patriots to win. But anyway, so anybody that wants another Sam Darnold or thinks that they're done with quarterbacks and they can't be productive in the NFL, well, you got another thing coming. So I think that bodes well for Kyler Murray. Jeez, can't even use my words today. Kyler Murray, Tua, Deshaun, Shador. Anyway, we'll leave Shador out for now because he really hasn't played more than 7 games, I think. So anyway, congrats to the Seahawks. As a Browns fan, it kind of has us dreaming a little bit what we could be, what could have been, gets the juices flowing. So we're going to focus heavy on the Browns today and do a little update on the Cavs hot streak and the Guardians gearing up for spring training. If there's one team that's got Cleveland buzzing right now, it's the Browns. And the offseason is in full swing, and the news from the last 24 to 48 hours is all about, hold on, I'm stepping on my headphone cable here. What the heck, man? Jeez. Now we're cooking with fire, gas, whatever, however you say it. So, quarterbacks, that's the big talk, coaching change, where the franchise is heading next. Especially under this new leadership with Todd Monken. But, I've got great vibes. I might be going swimming upstream, but I've got great vibes about this new regime in Berea here with Todd Monken and the new staff that's being assembled. I really do think the AFC North should be a little worried about the Browns and all these power rankings and people talking about the Browns being dead last as far as the power rankings and yada yada yada. And I can see where they're coming from, and most of them aren't Browns fans though. But my little spidey sense is tingling, and I really feel like with the defense in place and keeping the same scheme, getting a new coach, DC, I think the scheme is the most important. I think a coach that will hold them accountable as well, like Schwartz did. I don't think that's going to be an issue. There are some really bright spots on the offensive side of the ball. I'm with Harold Fandon Jr. Look at even Dylan Sampson. Look at all the just pieces that they have in place. They've got Shador Sanders, which we might talk about a little bit later. He's flashed. He looks like he has a high ceiling, but that's yet to be seen. So I really do feel like with the Browns winning 5 games, basically with the defense keeping them in the games and winning those games in some cases, if you look at a lot of the games they didn't win, with the exception of a couple, I mean, they really they were really, if they had a decent offense, not a great offense, but a decent offense. I mean, look at what Denver did. Look at what some of these other teams did with an okay offense but a great defense. So even if Monken puts in place, or the staff down in Bria puts in place a few new pieces, whether via the draft, trades, addressing some of the holes like the offensive line, possibly adding some depth at running back, a wide receiver. If so, you've got these rookies that are going to have going into another year. So they have a year under their belt. You get some new pieces in, whether they're rookies or otherwise. Even if they become an okay offense, could they win 4 or 5 more games? Could they be a 9-win team or a 10-win team? I really think that they're not that far off. Even if they don't go after a developmental quarterback in the draft, because that's basically really all they've got going for them, because any quarterback that's out there like Malik and others are going to come with some pretty heavy price tags. It's just, I don't see him going that route. So with the pieces in place at quarterback, we'll talk about that in a second. I really do think, I'm getting good vibes. I really feel like they could win a couple 3-5 extra games, assuming the defense plays to the level it did last year. So, let me know what you think. My off base, but as Cleveland fans, we're always ever dreaming the big dream, as it were. We're always hopeful. So this year's no different, but I will say this year feels different to me, like coming into the draft season, into the combine, into the draft, and with this new coaching. I feel like something is going to break this year, and hopefully it's not Quinshon Judkins' leg. Sorry, I can't talk. Almost spilled my drink. So starting with the elephant in the room, Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I know. A fresh rumor mill piece from, yesterday suggests that the Watson era might or should be over. Analysts are calling it, after a rocky stretch, it's time to basically move on. But an insider report from Yahoo Sports dropped on the 12th, which was yesterday, saying that the Browns could actually stick with Deshaun Watson and rookie Shedeur Sanders for this year, 2026, which has fans split, of course. Sanders, the Colorado product, had a so-so rookie year, but the team sees potential in a competition. No offense. I can't talk. No offense to Shedeur, but his arrival to facility after sliding in the draft sparked some controversy, let's say. Fans are debating if he's done enough to lock down the starting spot. X polls are flying from 92.3. The Fan had actually a poll which asks which QB gives the Browns the best shot in 2026, with options like Watson, Sanders, or even wild cards like Malik Willis, which we just mentioned. So there's a lot of chatter there, but odds are pretty low, like I said, especially with the price tag that would come with him. And for me personally, I really think that with the new coach, especially Todd Monken, and with what he's done, where he's been, with the Ravens and Georgia, I really think that you're already paying Deshaun Watson. And I was a big no Deshaun Watson in Cleveland kind of, I really didn't think he was going to do that well, which we kind of found out. But I just really, think since they have all this money invested in a quarterback that they're really not using, So with that being said, he's already he's under your roof, and he used to be a good quarterback. So with that being said, I know I say that a lot. Sorry. The guy's healthy now. He's completely cleared to play football or any other football activity, and he's working with a quarterback coach on his own. I believe he's working with some of the Browns receivers as well. I don't know if it's in Orlando or where it's at. I think it's somewhere in Florida. But wouldn't it be something, using the Sam Darnold comparison? You got this guy on mega contract. Let him compete. You're already paying him. What's the worst thing that happens? That somebody else takes the spot. At least you tried. At least you knew for sure that you're getting some return on this. But I really think that Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders are probably going to be the two, maybe a camp arm or two or whatever in through the draft, free agency, whatever. I really think Shedeur needs to be developed a little bit. We have a quarterback that's played in the NFL at a high level for at least 4 years. So what's to say we can't get him playing at least better than he did the last time he was on the field for Cleveland? So anyway, what's the Godzilla thing? Let him fight. But I would not be surprised if Deshaun Watson is at least competing for the starting job and is named QB1 before the start of the season. I don't see that as being out of the realm of possibility. Man, I am really my brain's scrambled today. Maybe it's because I'm talking about the Browns. But anyway, so it remains to be seen what happens, but I'm very hopeful. Shedeur flashed, as I stated earlier. He's got some crazy accuracy when he's on, but looks like he has some brain farts. And I don't know if it's the scheme, the concept, the players, or a combination of all of them, but he just did not, in a few games, just did not look comfortable. I think he had a overall quarterback rating of like 48 or something like that. So anyway, are we going to do the flop again, and we're going to try to load up for the 27 draft class, which has a better quarterback class? Who knows? So anyway, shifting to coaching. Todd Monken's the new head coach, obviously, and it is intro presser back on February 3rd. He was pumped. You could tell he wanted to be here. And I think Cleveland needs people like that, players and coaches that want to be here, that really that's why Bernie Kosar's always been my favorite Browns player. It's just such a wonderful story. Kid from Youngstown, growing up in the area, loving the Browns, and then goes to Miami and figures out a loophole how to get into the NFL and play for the Browns without actually going into the draft. And then playing for the Browns and then doing really well. I love that. I wish we hired and recruited all across the organization like that. You want to be in Cleveland. So, Monken was really pumped about leading this young team into 2026. And, one of the youngest in the league. He's building a staff, of course. But the big news is obviously Jim Schwartz resigning as defensive coordinator on February 6th. That's a blow, but the D's got bright spots. Rookie Carson Schlesinger, who just snagged the Defensive Rookie of the Year award in the NFL. That's awesome. So dude had an incredible season, and we've got we've got a ton of pieces on the defense that are just, we have such a stacked defense. So, talking draft, the draft speculation obviously is heating up, and I'm of the school that, I look at stuff like everybody else does. When I look at video clips on YouTube and wherever else, it's all clickbait titles. It's all, I love it when they use the word linked, Pro Bowl, blah, 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 player linked to the Browns or coach linked to the Browns. And, there is the only people that really know what the hell is going on with an organization is the people in the front office or the ownership, possibly the coaches. So anybody out there saying that, oh yeah, this is whatever. Anyway, there's a lot of clickbait out there. So it's all speculation. Whatever I say is speculation, unless it comes right out from the organization itself or somebody that's a reputable league source, like Pelissaro, whatever. Take everything you see with a grain of salt or hear with a grain of salt, because it's all opinion. Excuse me. So anything talking about mock drafts, all opinion. We know that even up to the minute of the draft, when they're on the clock, we know that shit happens, shit changes, So a 2-round mock draft from, MSN highlights what the Super Bowl taught us. Build like champs. So I think that comes down to obviously building a superior defense, which we already have, and no mental errors or very few mental errors. I see a lot of these playoff teams and games, they come down to the wire. They come down to a field goal. They come down to whatever, like a crazy play. But everything is, I really can't even describe the feeling of when you build a team. Obviously, you need the defense. I know I'm repeating myself. But a lot of these guys, they act like professional football players. They don't make a lot of mental mistakes. It's like, if you've got a plan and you have professionals executing the plan, it's just like a chess game. And so it's a matter of who makes the first mistake. So not only getting elite players, but getting players that really have a good head on their shoulders and aren't prone to penalties or, I don't know if that's something that could be taught out of somebody, but you either got it or you don't, I think. See, on ESPN on X, Cleveland, somebody floated a idea for a trade. It's like, would you trade deal picks for a right guard prospect and get a wild proposal from like Dallas radio, for example, like the Cowboys trade up. This is one of the scenarios that was put out there. So they trade up to number 6 for Ohio State safety Caleb Downs, giving us their number 12 and 20 plus our 24. Let's see, that's three first rounders. I'm pretty sure I'd pull the trigger on that stockpile, and that's a good start to building to Monken's rebuild for the offense. I mean, you can get some pretty nice assets. Nothing's guaranteed, but you should be able to get some pretty nice assets with those 3 picks. So like other nuggets, David Njoku's goodbye post has folks, reflecting on his Cleveland run and breaking today. President Trump pardoned 5 former NFL players, including a former Browns running back. So if Watson starts again, there might be riots. That's all I gotta say. What's your take? Drop them in the comments. Make a little mention of whatever's happening, in your football world. Throw them in the comments here, especially about what I've been talking about. So switching to the Cavs, to the hardwood. They're pretty impressive right now. They've been rolling. Last night, they crushed the Wizards 138-113 at home. Sam Merrill went off. He had I think a career high 32 points, draining 9 threes. Talking about money, Merrill. Donovan Mitchell dropped 30 in James Harden's home debut. Solid 13 points, 11 assists, and a double-double. That's his second. Second in 3 games since the Clippers trade. This bumps them to 34 and 21, while Washington falls to 14 and 39. Just before that, on the 10th, they edged the Nuggets 119-117 in another thriller. Mitchell again with 32, Harden with 22 and 10 boards. Clutch tying 3 from Harden. Set up Mitchell's game. God, I can't talk. Set up Mitchell's game. Winners at the line. The Cavs are gelling, heading into the All-Star break strong. X is buzzing, of course. Fans ranking East contenders with Cleveland in the mix. See, behind Detroit, Boston, and New York, if they keep this up, playoffs could be deep. Over in baseball. Let's check on the Guardians here a little bit. Let me check my notes here. Let's see. The Guardians are ramping up. Pitchers and catchers reported yesterday, the 12th, with full workouts starting soon. MLB.com dropped an earlier opening day roster projection eyeing a young Cleveland core. Top prospects like Angel Geno, however you pronounce his name, and Travis Bazzana lead the farm system. Cleveland just has such an awesome farm system. They always have. I love that about Cleveland. They just don't have to spend a ridiculous amount of money on pitching if they don't want to. So their farm system is still up there. I think they're like top 5 in baseball. They signed former number 1 pick Carter Kieboom. I can just imagine once he's in the majors. Kaboom, or whatever name people want to start shouting from the stands whenever he's on the field. Kaboom. To a minor league deal with a spring invite back on January 13th. So, positive notes. Pitching prospects Daniel Espino and Justin Campbell are healthy and ready. Locked On Guardians pod. I think that's the name of the podcast. Locked On Guardians pod. Discussed Ben Lively's return and why teams might hesitate trading with Cleveland. I know, conspiracy vibes. Let's see. The first spring game is against the Reds on the 21st. See, X has fans hyped with hat collections and prospect videos. This could be a breakout year. So that's your HogCast for today. Browns rebuilding with QB questions as usual. Cavs heating up and Guardians springing into action. So what do you think about that Browns trade idea of the cat? Oh, excuse me. Oh my gosh. What do you think about the Browns trade idea with Dallas? Them trading up to number 6, and we get another. So we get 3 total first round picks. What do you think about that? And the Cavs' new look lineup. So let me know. Drop it in the comments down below. Don't be afraid to share, the whole 9 yards. Make the algorithm happy. So that's all I've got for today. So I'll catch you next time. Dr. Hogwash out.
Cleveland in the building, you know how we roll. From the first hot take to the final goal. From the dog pound roar to the hardwood floor. We break it all down, then we come back for more, yeah. Just the Cleveland HogCast sports show, we locked in. Talking every dub, every loss, every top win. You ran with the squad, now it's time that we go. Thanks for watching, that's the Cleveland HogCast sports show. Hey, hey.